Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Reed's Read Spider-Man Crawl Space Edition. Check us out at spidermancrawlspace.com. Well, everybody, I'd like to join you here for the review of Amazing Spider-Man 65, aka 959 by Joe Kelly and Cafu. I'm, of course, your host, Ryan Reed here, and I will go over my pros and cons, of course, of the most latest issue as we get to, of course, the Eight Deaths of Spider-Man as Spider-Man faces off against Kyra, basically the fourth scion, aka the twin sister of Calyx, who of course Spider-Man beat last issue, and a little jokes on Pokemon and a few other things. So, what actually can be on scene as we of course review this quarter part of the storyline? So let's of course get into the pros, shall we? So one thing I will have to say is I really did enjoy the concepts of the issue itself here, because one thing was it was very original considering the pieces on here. Kyra is a very interesting sign how she's able to embed the different pieces of death as we go into this part too. And as I can think too, I also like the fact that we get the different concepts of how her powers work. It's one thing we always know that at some point our lives are going to come to an end. And the truth is the fact that she bombards Peter with not just the death of his loved ones or also the things of his friends and other members of family, but seeing all the various different people around the world passing away for various reasons, whether they are hurt by accidents, such as getting hit by a car, to the fact that they're dying as superheroes, natural disasters, black. It really has a very interesting impact with so if you were you or me, how could we deal with seeing so many people, whether they're going to die in 30 years or die in 5 years, come in that too? And it's really interesting how that comes. And I also like the fact that Cyra really does not care about the battle. She has to be like dad, but really, as she tells him too, she rather just go back to her own location, sip some wine, and move up to. And I really do like that concept too. I also like some of the different areas that saying why death comes for everyone, it could change. Even when she's showing that the fact that Mary Jane might die at the hands of the hobgoblin, it actually could be changed. She could, as you say, die as a 94-year-old woman. She could die tomorrow from choking on fruit. It's showing that why death is inevitable for all of us. It's not always going to come the same way and how things can change. I do like that as an area on that. But that's kind of where we kind of get to the pieces of where it is, because while we get all that one thing about how different people from Jonah's Damon's or even how Shay after doing life ends up dying from a drunk driver, or how people get done for into their areas too, and the fact that Phil Colston is of course into this Volve too much here, which is nice to do him. It kind of leads a little bit to what the cons are on this, because the truth is it has its problem, because the truth is all these things is not what breaks Peter. The fact that he has to go through, because the truth is he ends up saying into her when he finds out his own Aunt May that she's going to die from a pandemic in a few years, from her age stuff, and he basically says, "Oh well, we all have to go sometime. It's going to hit us death wise." Like, what? This is a person that she was shot. You gave up your marriage and your unborn child so she would live, and use when everybody else told you she was going to die for the power of love. It's kind of like, wait, what is? And also, the truth is, that's not what breaks Peter. What breaks him is the fact that he finds out that, Miles, Gwen, and of course, Bailey are going to die in some type of cosmic event where the truth is they're not dying fighting as heroes. They're just kind of out and about and they get killed in the process, don't even see it coming. They're apparently spider senses never warn them. They're just dying. That's what breaks Peter, that basically his legacy is over. What? Huh? He just saw that his best friend roommate Randy is going to possibly die from being trampled from a protest that goes wrong. The fact that Shay in 20 years is going to get hit by a drunk driver not coming. The fact that Jonah is going to basically have a brain aneurysm and then die and get replaced, that threats and menaces without thought process. It's like, wait, that's his, oh, well, we all have to go. And well, life, or the fact that Betty Brant dies in her 90s surrounded by her loved ones. We're always fine. But as soon as he finds out, wait, they're just going to die for nothing, that's too much. And that's when Cyra really throws it up at him too. And I do like the fact that Colson sees all this happening, even though, as I say here, time is not fluid. It's jumping between the future, the past, 2 days, 5 minutes together. And basically he's telling, Peter, hold on, because the fact is, as soon as Peter lets go of the orb, he loses, but he can't take the pain. He holds on. And the fact is, that's not what messes him. It has to be Calyx basically jumping in, attacking him, realizing that was not part of the deal. And he screws it all up, because the fact is Peter does it and he ends up killing Peter before the spell can done. So they both lose as a process. And it's kind of like, well, that's definitely original. I will give you that. But at the same time, is after all that and seeing all that, that's when he's like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Screw that. Forget it. Get your own champion. I don't care if the world burns. I saw tens of thousands of people die and I'm done. In a normal sense, that would probably break anybody. See all these deaths, as I said too. But the fact is, he's fine first, and then it's the death of Spider Boy and Miles Morales and Spider Gwen. That's when he loses it because they don't die as heroes. They just die because they were just there at the wrong time, and this entity from wherever is gonna just raise the earth, and it's like, it's too much. And then, then he gets all of it. I think it would have worked better if he would have seen somebody like just Miles dying by themselves. Here, trying to say the entire Spider-Man legacy is just gonna be done in one swell soup and they're just out and about is a little contrived. Not to mention the fact that, like I said, 20 years ago for one more day, Peter was like, "No, my aunt can't die. She has to live." And then here it's like, "Oh well, she has to go. Yes, it's going to be heartbreaking. We're going to move." What? It's not too bad and stuff, but I'm going to have to give this guy. I'm going to have to give this a grade of C. It has such a great concept, and I did enjoy it quite a bit. But it kind of got to the point to where I was just like, "That's what breaks him and stuff," and the fact that's what made Peter Gold thing. And for more here, whatever, guys, go ahead and go ahead and check up the one shot we're going to do on Phil Coulson to find out how Peter's going to come back from this for the final conclusion the next 2 months of the storyline. Not bad, but that was really kind of felt a little contrived. It wasn't too bad, but I'll give it to what it is. It's not a bad story, and I really like the twins. Calix and Cyra were actually really cool bad guys for the Legacy of Sidorak. But when this was all said and done, it's like that's how she loses because her brother is too much of a glory hound to let Peter lose on let Peter lose from her showing the death, and it's so much so. I can't pretty much say much out there, but otherwise, it wasn't a bad issue. So, with that said, everybody, if you're thinking that and you want to be able to hear about these more reviews as we got them next couple weeks, please like and subscribe here or join us at the SpidermanCrawlspace.com for all your latest news, reviews, and podcasts. And of course, our Patreon page, which you can check out and subscribe for early previews as well as special guests or areas for our reviews. So, on that note, everybody, I will talk to you.